We'll continue on with 5C, talking about graphing different types of variables. We've already talked about the difference between quantitative and qualitative, and that the differences come out in the graphs. So quantitative variables describe quantities that can be measured or counted. The values are recorded as numbers. Qualitative variables describe quantities. The values recorded are usually words, but not always, and we're not going to get into that too deeply. So we're dealing with words, a number and the frequency, or the words and the frequency. So we're going to talk about those. And the first thing I want to do is look at the 4 different kinds of charts. There is a line chart, there is a histogram, there is a bar chart, and there is a pie chart. Of course, there are multiple other different types of graphs, but what we want to look at specifically is the characteristics and how to determine whether or not they are qualitative or quantitative. Now, just to save time, what I have done is I've gone ahead and filled out the next page and just going to go over the different characteristics with each graph. Okay, so let's start out with the line chart. Now, this is really important on especially how to determine whether it's quantitative or qualitative. The fact that the horizontal axis is numbers, these are numbers, tells you that it's quantitative. Okay, and we just did a line chart, so you know the vertical axis is the frequency. And what you do is you put a dot in the center of each bin. Now, I'm not quite sure exactly how this is working, if the bins are in tens or whatever, but maybe in the middle of each year, I don't know. You put a bin at a dot at the frequency, and then you connect all the dots. You continue on along as you go. This is always the frequency. How many are in that bin? Okay. Now we just created also a histogram, and this is one that we looked at earlier talking about the high school completion rates. Okay, these are numbers on the horizontal axis, which means it is quantitative. And then again, the numbers on the y-axis, on the vertical axis, is the frequency. So this would be how many states had a completion rate between 65 and 70, or between 85 and 90. Okay. Now also at the end of the last video and in class we talked about the bars are exactly the same width. And that has meaning. Each of them represents the same size bin. This goes from 55 to 60, 60 to 65, 65 to 70. You can't have different size bins. You have to split them up evenly, however you choose to do it. Okay. So the bars touch because there's nothing in between, unless you have a bin that has nothing in it, like we saw when we did the books. But they do touch, they have the same width, and the width does have meaning. It is the size of the bin. Okay. Now, if we compare those to what is a bar chart, the big difference here is that these are categories. Whoops, I should be doing that in orange. These are categories, words, which means it is qualitative. The vertical axis is still the frequency. Okay. The bars do not touch. Notice there is a space in between them. Okay. So notice there is a space. There is a space between the bars. Okay. They are the same width, but the width doesn't have any meaning. And the other thing on here is that you always start, since they're categories, the largest frequency is on the left, and works down to smallest frequency on the right. Okay. So this is always going to be the tallest bar, and it moves down from here. Notice this one, it goes up and down. When we did the one in the other 5C, it went up and down. Okay. But you start with the largest bar on the left, and it goes all the way down. Okay. Okay. If you're looking at a pie chart, it's a circle divided into slices, and each slice represents a category. So the slices are categories, so it is qualitative. And then each slice has converted to a percent. However many people answered Facebook, however many people did Twitter or YouTube or whatever. So it's converted to a, slices are categories that have been summarized as a percent. And the larger the percent, the larger the slice. It all adds up to 100%. Every category is represented. So the pie is the whole thing. Each slice is a category. The larger the slice, the higher the percentage, and it all adds up to 100. Okay, so we are going to look at dealing with, we already did a quantitative, and now we're going to look at a qualitative. So we're going to ask a survey question that has words as answers. And the survey question that was asked is, what is your favorite fast food? Okay, so the results were, and they took the votes and they converted it to percent. So this is the percent of votes. So which of the 4 types of graphs? I would do this as a pie chart. Why? Because it is qualitative data. The answer is words, and it is in percents, which will be pieces of the pie. Okay. Normally, frequency is not a percent. Frequency is a number. So if you have a vertical axis and a graph, then you're going to have to convert these percents to numbers. Okay. All right, so let's see what we've got here. We're going to start out with Chick-fil-A, which I'm going to abbreviate CF. They have 20%. Wendy's has 31%, so we'll call it W. Chipotle has 33%. I don't know if they don't have a drive-through. I don't even know if I'd consider them fast food. Taco Bell has 7%. And finally, Burger King has 9%. I don't know if you agree with these. I certainly don't. But anyway, okay. All right, so what are we going to do? We've already decided that since it's dealing with qualitative data and it's dealing with a percent, we are going to deal with a pie chart. So the first thing we have to do is draw a circle. Now remember that your drawing has to be as good as mine, which is just awful. So there's my approximation of a circle. And let's see what we can do. Now I am going to start out with the largest one first. So I am going to start out with Chipotle. So I'm going to start over here and I am going to draw, and I need 33%, which is about a third of the circle. So I am going to make this Chipotle with 33%. Okay. Then I'm going to go to the next largest one is Wendy's. So it's going to be almost another third. So let's put it like to right here. Okay. And again, make it look like you tried. Don't just split it up into 5 even pieces. They're not going to be accurate unless you have the correct tools. So we're going to call this Wendy's at 31%. The next largest one is going to be Chick-fil-A, and that's going to be a little bit less than a fourth. So let's say that it is going to be, oh, I don't know. Let's say call it this one, and here's our Chick-fil-A. So here's going to be my Chick-fil-A at 20%. And then we will do Burger King. And Burger King is about 9%. Which is 9%. And then finally, we have Taco Bell in our last one. And we will call this Taco Bell with 7%. Okay. All right, so we've got our circle graph. They're probably close enough. I probably could have made this one a little bit bigger, but who knows? Okay, so did you include a title or caption? No, I need to title it. So I am going to title this Favorite Fast Food. Okay, so I've done that. Did you include a vertical scale and title? No, it doesn't apply. A horizontal scale? No. Did you include a legend? Well, I can consider this the legend. So yes. So I've got my table, I've got the legend of what everything means. Okay, and I've also got it right around here. I've taken all this information and I have included it on the graph, so I've done it twice. Okay, so this is qualitative data, so we wanted to choose between a bar chart and a pie chart, but since the information was in percents, I went ahead and did a pie chart. Okay. All right, now it says suppose 55 people are represented in this data set, and we want to fill out the table with the correct number of votes for each restaurant. Round the vote counts to the nearest whole number. Okay. All right. So now we have a total number of people. So if I want to find Chick-fil-A, we know it's 20% of the total. So this is going to be 20% of 55, which is 0.20 times 55, which means there are 11 people in that category. And I'm going to round. Notice it says here to round to the nearest whole number because we don't want parts of people. Okay. Let's do the same thing for Wendy's. Wendy's is 31%, so we're going to find 31% of 55, which is 0.31 times 55, which gives us 17, and I believe that is rounded. Let me double check that. Yes. Oops. Yeah, it's 17.05, which we're going to round to 17. Okay, Chipotle is 33% of the 55 people. So that's 0.33 times 55, which is 18.15, so I'm going to leave it at 18. Taco Bell is 7% of 55, which is 0.07 times 55, which is 3.85, so I'm going to round it to 4. And finally, Burger King is 9% of 55, so that's 0.09 times 55, which is 5. Okay. All right, so what have I got here? Now I have the number of votes. So if I want to graph this data, this one I would choose a bar chart. Why? It is still qualitative because the answer is words. But now I'm dealing with a frequency, which would be the height, height of the bars. This is now a frequency. Okay, so let's do a quick graph here. I am going to do a horizontal axis. I'm going to do it over here so I have plenty of room, and use a ruler so maybe you guys can see what I'm actually doing. All right. So I know that across here has to be my categories. So this is the fast food restaurant. And this is the frequency. Okay. So now I've got to figure out how to scale this. Okay. So this is the only part that I need to scale, and I know my highest value is 18. So I can go up by any number that I want. It doesn't matter. If you did it by 2s, it would be really squished together. I guess we could do that though. Let's go up by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. You have to go up by an even amount. Okay. So this is our fast food restaurant. This is the categories. And this is the frequency. So this is going to be the number of people. Okay. Now also remember that we are going to start with the largest and work our way down. Okay, so the largest number is 18. So I am going to do a tower of 18. And I can label this Chipotle. My next highest one is 17. Now since this is a bar chart, there is a space between them, but they are all the same width. So I'm going to have to go up to 17, make it the same width, and come back down. This is going to be Wendy's. Then I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A. It is only going to go up to 11. I'm going to leave the same size space in between, make the bar the same width, and come back down. And this will be Chick-fil-A. Then I am going to do Burger King. I'm going to leave the same space in between. I'm only going to go up to 5 this time. Make the bar the same width. Of course, if you're freehanding, you're going to have to do the very best job you can. Mine are not perfect. They're not bad, but they're not perfect. And then finally I have Taco Bell, which only goes to 4. Same size space in between, different height, same width. And this will be Taco Bell. So you can see it starts with the tallest bar and works its way down. Okay, so did I include a title or a caption? I did not. So my title is going to be Favorite Fast Food. Okay. Did you include a vertical scale and title? Yes. Did you include a horizontal scale? I don't need that, but I do need a title. Did you include a legend? Yeah, if you've got your data, that's your legend. Okay. Okay. So this was qualitative. As a percent, it was a pie chart. As a frequency, it was a bar chart. Okay. All right, our last example is going to be considering a data set below. It's a listing of quiz grades. So you've got all the different quiz grades listed. Okay, so our data is numbers. So this is going to be quantitative. It is going to be quantitative because it is numbers. The data is numbers. Okay. So technically, we could consider each grade as a category and create a bar graph. Okay. Would this be helpful? No. Why? Because each data point is different. So each bar would have a height of 1. And your graph would look something like this. For each grade, it wouldn't even matter where you started. You would just have a bunch of bars like this. And that really would be meaningless to you. You wouldn't have to put them in any particular order if you were doing a quantitative, and the frequency would be 1 on each one of them. That would really not help you out at all. Okay, so since it's going to be quantitative, we are going to have to deal with 2 different types of graphs and figure out which one is appropriate. So it's either going to be a histogram or a line chart. And we are actually going to do both. But before that, we are going to organize the data into bins. Okay, so we are going to put these in just like you would with grades. If you're looking at grades, you probably want to know how many A's, how many B's, how many C's, how many D's, and that sort of thing. And we can't just do like below failing because again, all the bins have to be the same width. So the lowest grade is in the 40s, the highest grade is in the 90s. So if I want to put them in bins of 10, I'm going to have to go through and count, well, how many are between 40 and 49, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90? Okay, there weren't any hundreds, so we didn't have to do that. Okay, so 40 to 49, I find 1. 50 to 59, there are 0. 60 to 69, 1, 2. Okay. Well, everybody seems to be doing well on this quiz. 70 to 79, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 80 to 89, 1, 2, 3, 4. And finally, 90 to 99, 1, 2, 3 of those. Okay. All right, so that's what we like to see. Almost everybody passed. Okay, so the bin values, these are going to be my horizontal axis. And this is going to be my frequency, which is my vertical axis. Okay. So let me draw a graph here, and then we'll figure out all the things that we need to do for it. Okay, so my horizontal axis and my vertical axis. Okay. Now I am going to have to scale both my horizontal and my vertical. So my lowest grade is in the 40 to 49, so I'm going to start out at 40, go to 50, go to 60, go to 70, go to 80, go to 90, and end at 100. Okay, those are all roughly the same width. And these are my quiz scores. These are my bins. Now my frequency, this has to go up to the largest number in here, which is 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is going to be the number of students which is my frequency. Okay. All right, so now I just have to draw my bins. Okay. They are touching. They are all the same width. The only difference is the height, the frequency. Okay, so for my first one here, 40 to 49, there is 1 in that bin. Okay. 50 to 59, there is 0. 60 to 69, there are 2. So 60 to 69, there are 2. 70 to 79, there are 5. Okay. 80 to 89, there are 4. So 4 and over and down. And finally, 90 to 99, there are 3. Okay. All right. So I have forgotten. I always forget something. The title. Okay, so let me put a title, and we'll just call it Quiz Grades. Did I include a vertical scale and title? Yes. Did I do a horizontal scale and title? Yes. Did you include a legend? Yeah, I've got what all of it means. Okay, so I've got all of these things. Now, rather than draw the graph again, what I am going to do is go ahead and just do a line chart on top of it. So all I have to do is put a dot in the center of each bin at the top of each bin and then connect my dots. And there is my line chart. Okay. That is the end of 5C. We will continue with 5E next time. Bye.